So now we've just recorded our nice grand Bösendorfer piano with two 818s, and we placed them like this. So the classical position of Blumlein stereo technique, but it's the same placement that you use for XY. So now we have the possibility in Post Pro to decide if we want the Blumlein sound or if we want the XY sound. How I'm doing this. We recorded, of course, 4 channels. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means we have one 818 here, which is the front side. From the same microphone, we record the back side of the membrane. And the same with the second microphone, front side, back side.
Yep.
Okay. Now I have the Polar Designer. I need 2 of them. We have them here on the screen.
Yep.
And we route the first microphone front side to bus 1, the back side to bus 2, which are the inputs for this plugin. And the same with the second microphone to bus 3 and 4. And now we have the possibility to change our recording in between figure of 8.
Yep.
And which would be Blumlein, right?
Yeah.
And if I click here, I switch to cardioid, which would be XY. I have synced up those 2 Polar Designers that I need. Of course, I have 2 microphones, so I need 2 Polar Designers. And down there you have the sync channels. So they are both set on 1. So they are in the same group. So I can change cardioid to figure of 8 with just 1 click. So now let's have a listen. That's the XY setting, which of course sounds more close. And if I want to have more room of my recording, I change it to the figure of 8. Okay, so now I've done a stereo recording, and I can decide later on which kind of character I want and how much room sound I want. And I can even go further. If I now say, okay, I like the Blumlein, but I know this is going to be a fancy jazz recording and it's going to be cut on vinyl. So we know we can't have too much stereo information in the low end on the bass to cut vinyl. So I can say, okay, not a problem. I pull up my frequency selector here up to 200 hertz. 200 hertz, and I say, okay, I pull down my low end to an omni, which means the low end is going to be mono now. You hear it immediately.
Yeah.
Now I could say, okay, maybe it gets a little bit too boomy now. Not a problem. I can get into this either by reducing the proximity effect or we have included an equalizer down here, which is phase linear. This whole plugin, everything is completely phase linear. And please be aware, this is no digital processing. We just change the polar pattern of the microphone. This is totally analog. So I can listen to the low end and just pull it down a little bit. Okay, I have also the possibility to mute different frequencies.
That's cool.
In the end, the Polar Designer is kind of a new tool that allows you to do a lot of different sound design within post-production, which is sometimes close to having an equalizer, but it's on the other side totally different. You don't have any phase issues or something. You can also use the Polar Design, for example, to use it on a bass drum for the outside microphone of the bass drum on the resonance skin. And for an example, let's say it has too much of the mid-range. You just tell the plugin, okay, let the microphone look backwards in the mid-range. So let's look away back into the room, away
Oh,
from
yeah.
the bass drum, and it feels a little bit like an equalizer, but it is not. It's just the microphone doesn't pick it up
Yeah.
directly. So
It's like changing the mic position in a
it's
way
like
virtually,
changing the
which
mic
is
position,
better
but
than
on a
EQing.
specific frequency. So I even don't know how many use cases you can have with this plugin. We are all still in finding out modus.
Well, it's also creative. Why not?
It is totally creative. You can do a lot of
yeah,
crazy
you
stuff.
can find out while you start
Yeah.
to mess with it, and then